This episode of Hitch to Homicide contains depictions of domestic violence. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know is in crisis, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also text the word START to 88788 or chat online at hotline.org.
October 6, 2024, San Antonio, Texas. On a quiet Sunday night in an exclusive neighborhood, a 48-year-old mother and realtor slipped out of a black tie party and headed home to her tree-lined street in Olmos Park. To most of the outside world, she was a woman who had it all. But within hours of pulling into her driveway, she would vanish without a trace, leaving behind her car, her purse, and her young child asleep inside. By the next morning, her friends were texting, her clients were wondering why she'd missed appointments, and her family was trying to piece together her whereabouts. Well, almost all of her family. Her husband told police he had no idea where she'd gone, but as detectives began to dig into the couple's volatile history, a very different story began to emerge. This is a case built on fragments, a neighbor, a phone, surveillance footage, and a family property in the hill country. This is the story of Suzanne Simpson, missing in the night. Hey y'all, I'm Chris Calvert.
And I'm her husband, Rob Podorf. Welcome to Hitch to Homicide.
For better or worse.
Till death do us part.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome. And for our friends in Latvia.
Latvia. Did we play them in hockey the other night?
I think I can't remember.
I can't remember either. We've been keeping up with the Olympics, so
Yep. Well, for those people in Latvia,
yes.
Laipni Ludsam.
And I have a feeling that is not what they said going off the ice to the American hockey players after I believe we beat them 5 or 6-1, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
They're doing great.
Yeah, they are.
Well, wherever you're listening, be sure to subscribe to Hitch to Homicide, then like, rate, and review the podcast so others who love true crime and are just like you can find us.
Yep.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button below.
Please do.
If you want true crime with us all the time, go join our close Facebook group, the In-Laws and Outlaws. Go to Facebook, type in H2H, because that's what we call ourselves, In-Laws and Outlaws.
The number two.
The number 2.
Yep.
Answer a couple questions. You are in, go join. Lots of funny people in there. I like to post extra information in there. That's our family. We love them a lot.
Yep.
You can find us on Instagram at Hitch to Homicide or on X at H2H_podcast. We also have a Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to send Rob some coffee.
In my new coffee mug.
He drinks at every episode in the coffee mug that we can't quit talking about. You can find that link in our show notes.
Yes.
You can also send us a text. The link to that is at the top of the show notes where it says, send Chris and Rob a text.
Yes.
I got through that as fast as I could.
You did well.
And people who automatically go skip ahead trying to get away from me saying all those things are going to find themselves in the story.
There you go.
Because I went so fast today.
Also, we this past weekend was Valentine's Day, so we want to wish everyone a happy belated
Yes,
Valentine's
happy
Day.
belated Valentine's Day. And you know what? It's okay if it was a Galentine's Day, too. If you just went out with your girlfriends or your dudes or whatever. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be in love. It's okay to love yourself.
A Dudentine's Day.
Exactly. Dudentine's. They gave each other steak nuggets.
It's perfect.
Well, this is an ongoing court case.
Okay.
This is happening in real time, so we're going to have to come back to this case. It's super interesting, but I didn't want to let it pass me by Before we get started, let me thank some sources: the San Antonio Report, CrimeTimelines.com, the Drop Dead Serious Podcast, Court TV, KSAT 12, KENS 5, News 4, Facebook, Fox News, mysanantonio.com, and many others. I don't ever give all the sources. If you go to the show notes, there's a long list of them there.
They're all there.
They're all there.
Okay. Well, you ready?
I am.
Let's do it.
Suzanne Clark was born in San Antonio, Texas on June 16, 1973, to Philip and Barbara Clark. Her dad was in the Navy. He's a Navy vet.
There you go.
Just like Rob's dad.
Yep.
And he was an attorney. Her parents will divorce after 17 years of marriage when Suzanne was around 14 years old. She attended and graduated from Texas Military Institute, which is a private college prep school for students from grades 6 to 12. It is a boarding school and a day school both, with day students paying between $29,000 and $33,000 a year. So
Whoa.
It's very expensive and very exclusive.
And I apologize. What year was this?
She was born in 73,
Okay.
so yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Holy cow.
When she graduated, she attended the University of Texas at Austin. Hook 'em horns.
Yeah.
Had to say it. Hook 'em horns. Not a Texas fan, but know lots of people who are.
Yeah.
She gets her BS in Business and Corporate Communications, graduating in 1995. So there you go. She was in school in high school in late 80s, early 90s.
That always makes me laugh when you say, I've got a BS in.
I have a BA in BS. Welcome to the world of advertising and public relations.
And there you go.
It served me well.
Yes, it has.
Following college, she worked for Dell Technologies as an account manager from 1997 to 2003. And somewhere in there, she meets and marries Brad Chandler Simpson. Now, I had to do the math to get some idea of when they marry, but it seems they got married sometime in 2002 or 2001. They had their first child in 2004. Now, they're going to have 4 children together, 3 girls and 1 boy. And we're going to talk about their oldest daughter, Chandler, which is his middle name. They named their first daughter after his middle name.
Okay.
I know the names of the other children, but they have been kept out of the spotlight, whereas Chandler, the oldest, has stepped into it as an advocate for her mother. I'm not going to mention the other kids' names.
All right.
After marriage to Brad, Suzanne goes to work at Avnet Technology Solutions as an IBM hardware account manager.
Wasn't that in the Terminator?
I don't
kidding.
think so. From
Oh, that was Skynet. Sorry.
Okay.
I need to know how Skynet gets built. Who's responsible?
How do you remember that?
Yeah.
Good Lord. From 2003 to 2009, she worked there. But she became a real estate agent. I thought she might have been a broker, but I think she's an agent.
Okay.
And she starts with Nick's Realty in San Antonio around 2011 in order to work closer to home in San Antonio. Because by this time, she has 3 active kids in school.
Yeah.
Now, she's really involved in her children's schools and their sports activities. And according to an article in Town and Country, Suzanne was a friendly regular at a nearby coffee shop, a bright, smiling supermom who could talk to anyone, a successful real estate agent, a hilariously bad driver. She was someone who always put others first, especially her children. She loved microwavable Indian food and eating at a place called Chris Madrid's, which is a Mexican-style burger place near their home. It might be Madrid's, because that's what we call it, the new Madrid Fault here in Kentucky, but maybe it's Madrid there.
Okay.
And speaking of home, Brad and Suzanne lived in an area called Alamo Heights. It is a very exclusive neighborhood in San Antonio. It's one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the state of Texas. And that is saying a lot considering the oil money that is in Texas.
Yeah, really.
They lived on East Olmos Drive. Now, Suzanne was selling high-end real estate, very expensive homes, and Brad's career is a little murkier, at least to me.
Okay.
He's a San Antonio real estate investor and former property manager for Cotter and Sons. And here's the 411 on that, as best as I could tell. According to the San Antonio Express News, Brad has been an investor in many real estate ventures and construction projects, and he's been linked to at least 15 Texas companies, some of which have gone out of business. Now, between 2002 and 2012, Brad worked as this property manager for Cotter and Sons, a San Antonio company that owned a bunch of office buildings. And the owner and founder of Cotter and Sons is real estate tycoon James F. Cotter. He owned 66 properties across 6 states, including the Twin Alamo Towers and 2 petroleum towers on Tesoro Drive.
What's really interesting about that is every time he'd come back to the main office, they would say, "Welcome back, Cotter."
Welcome back.
Sorry.
Not spelled the same way.
Okay, all
This
right.
is Cotter. Now, Brad Simpson got into some legal trouble, not with the older Cotter of the Cotter and Sons, James, but with his son. Now, he gets in trouble while he's working there, which turned into a nasty legal battle. In 2012, a janitorial company called BJ Core sued Cotter and Sons, claiming that they had negotiated a cleaning contract with the company through 2 men, Brad Simpson and James Cotter's son, who's also named James Cotter, but he is James Val Cotter, and he goes by Val, V-A-L.
Okay.
Now, both Brad and Val, who are best buddies, claim to be vice presidents at this company. So when Cotter and Sons failed to pay for BJ Corp's cleaning services at 10 of their office buildings, Cotter and Sons was sued, and BJ Corporation said it later learned that neither Brad Simpson nor Val Cotter had the authority to make or sign these contracts. So Val is like with his best buddy Brad, and they're going behind the old man's back to do this.
Yeah.
So in addition to suing the company for the unpaid contract, BJ Corporation also went after Brad and Val for fraud. Because in 2009, Brad Simpson formed a cleaning company called Premier Facility Solutions of San Antonio. It sounds like
Management.
Financial portfolios, insurance,
Computers.
black leather gloves.
prestige worldwide.
Prestige, worldwide. Why?
Exactly. And they're kind of like, these two kind of remind me of the Step Brothers, by the way, except they're not fighting.
What?
Did we just become best friends?
Yup.
It's more like when they become best friends. Did we just become best friends? Yes.
And they didn't have boats and hose.
Yeah.
Okay.
He forms this company along with Val and another guy, and Brad then hired his own cleaning company to handle the cleaning contracts for Cotter and Sons, and he's charging a premium, so a huge conflict of interest, and the elder Cotter is none the wiser, right?
Yeah.
But when the old man, James Cotter, becomes dissatisfied with how Premier is operating, he finds out that it's actually Brad Simpson who owned this company. And he told Brad, "You dissolve this company and you find somebody else to do the job." And Brad and Val then negotiated the agreement with the president of the company that owned BJ Corporation to purchase the assets of Premier Facility Solutions for like $100,000.
What?
This is so backwards, underhanded, and just slimy.
Yeah.
But the only assets that Premier had were the cleaning contracts with Cotter and Sons. So once again, they financially benefited. It was just a whole scheme.
Wow.
The same day the parties executed this purchase agreement, Brad and Val created new janitorial contracts on behalf of Cotter and Sons.
Good Lord.
And Cotter and Sons turned around and sued Brad Simpson for commercial bribery and breach of fiduciary duty. I might say yes.
A little, yeah.
The company felt that Brad should be responsible for the damages that BJ Corporation was suing Cotter and Sons for. So the case went to trial in 2015, and it was decided that Cotter and Sons should pay BJ Corporation more than $930,000 in damages
Wow.
and interest and legal fees, and that BJ Corp should not collect anything from Brad Simpson or Val Cotter.
Man.
Now, the case was appealed all the way up to the Texas Supreme Court, and in 2018, a year after the elder James F. Cotter died, these parties reach a confidential settlement. But not before, I believe, Brad filed for Chapter 11.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
So I know that was a really long way of telling you that he is an underhanded, sneaky guy.
So if you look under scumbag in the dictionary.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in cahoots with Val Cotter and some shady business dealings. And so he was sued by Cotter & Sons and BJ Corp and American Express because this jagoff didn't pay his credit card bill. In 2019, American Express sued his company Live Oak Investments because he wouldn't or couldn't pay $14,000 in charges. He's going to settle for $7,500 in payments. He's going to make these payments over a year. $7,500 over a year. But in 2020, American Express sued Brad all over again for $11,000 in charges made on his gold rewards card. But again, he has all these LLCs out there. And one of them is called Bandina Falls LLC, and it purchased a residential property in 2015 from his mother, Tommy Deanne Simpson. It's 3 acres on Highland Drive near the Medina River that flows into the Medina Lake. It's got a 2,600 square foot building on it, and it appraised at $579,000.
Okay.
So basically, Suzanne is this hardworking, giving, beautiful, by the way, mother who gives birth to their 4th child, a little girl, in 2019, in the middle of all this.
Man.
While he's just being shady boots. So now she's a mom of 4. She's married to Brad.
Lucky girl.
But again, these two live in a very nice area of San Antonio. And in public, Brad is charming. He's confident. He's well-liked. And in private, he's a different person.
That's usually the way these people are, though.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. He's very controlling. He's violent. And he's relentless with Suzanne. He's just so jealous of everything. Suzanne's dedication to her family and her work kept her going, but it also meant that she was able to keep the abuse hidden for a really long time. Now, have you ever been to the Alamo?
I have not. I wanted to see the basement, though.
Aren't we going to see the basement?
There's no basement at the Alamo.
There's no basement at the Alamo. I have been at the Alamo. By the way, there were tons of the Kentuckians who came all the way to Texas to fight. And their names are all in there. I was very, very impressed and proud of all my fellow Kentuckians there at the Alamo. But it's really small. I guess I thought it would be bigger.
And for those of you that don't know what I was talking about, the basement, just watch Pee Wee Herman. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I think people know that. Unless they're 18 or something, they haven't seen Pee Wee Herman.
That's true.
But I was just really, it was incredible to me because as we were taking the tour, they're telling me how many men were inside this little building. And I'm like, there's no way they fit all those people. Apparently they did fit all those men in that tiny little building.
Wow.
Now, I think by the time 2023 rolled around, Suzanne had told a few people how unhappy she was in her marriage. Brad was controlling. He was jealous. He was mentally and eventually physically abusive. But these are people who run with a very elite crowd. And one thing is for certain, you don't air your dirty laundry in public, even if your husband is being sued by American Express.
Wow.
I mean, it's only $11,000, and I realize that's a lot of money. But considering what they spent on their house and their cars and what they drove and the way Brad liked to eat out and have nice things, you know, $11,000 shouldn't have been a big deal on his American Express, right?
Right.
Apparently it was.
Jeez.
But Suzanne isn't happy. And I don't know if Brad is happy either, but for the purpose of this story, I really don't give a crap. Suzanne tells her private banker at Frost Bank, Gabriella Spicer, that Brad would mentally and physically abuse her and would take away her phone. He would track her like a stalker, not like you tracking me, wondering if I'm still at the grocery.
Yeah. You still at Sam's?
To find out if I can still get milk or if I've driven out of the parking lot. That's how Rob tracks me.
I need my half and half.
He needed to know where she was all the time and who she was talking to. But there's never going to be any evidence that she was ever cheating on Brad. None whatsoever. Honestly, when did this Wonder Woman have time?
Exactly.
She has 4 kids, 2 in college by now, and a teenager and a kindergartner. Seriously.
Wow.
Oh, and she was working full time too. And I think she's kind of the breadwinner. She's keeping them above water.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But Brad is going to document that in August of 2023, he assaults Suzanne physically. He's documenting this. On September 17th, 2023, Brad takes Suzanne's phone away. This is his MO. He takes it away and then he suspends her service through AT&T. And then when her kids can't find her via her cell phone, he would tell them, your mom lost her phone again. But on September 17th, 2023, Brad texts a woman named Elizabeth Taylor Thomas, what a great name, and says, quote, I still feel bad about tonight. I never should have grabbed her phone and drove off, but she was so protective of it. My dumb ass didn't know her passcode, so I got locked out and had to bring it back. I really have no interest in looking through her phone or anyone else's. These devices are the devil, end quote.
So who's this Elizabeth person?
She's eventually going to become divorced in 2024.
Okay.
But I think she's just a friend. I've never read that she's anything more than a friend. Somebody can email me, and I'm sure they will if I'm wrong. But he says these devices are the devil. Excuse me, sir. You are the devil.
Yeah, these are just your offspring.
Yeah. She's going to confide in her mother that Brad's mistreating her. And I don't think it was a stretch for those around her to believe that Brad was physically and mentally abusing his wife. But again, they're keeping up appearances. Him because of his inflated sense of self, his ego, and her, most likely, and this is just in my opinion, to keep from being that couple. It's the South. People love to clutch their pearls and gossip, and I just don't think she wanted it to be about her.
Sure.
Because from the outside, I think their entire life looked pretty shiny and beautiful, but underneath it was chaos.
Well, and also, I mean, she's the face of this real estate company.
Well,
realtor
she's
company,
one
I
of
should say.
she's one of their real estate agents, and she
Right.
is making a lot of money, and
Right.
and yeah.
No company wants to have any bad laundry out there.
No, it's true. It's true. Perception is reality. That's the number one rule they teach you in public relations. It doesn't really matter what the truth is.
Right.
It matters what the public perceives, and that perception is reality. And I think that's what she didn't want. But she was becoming brave enough at this point that I think she wanted out.
Okay.
Sunday, October 6, 2024, Brad, Suzanne, and their youngest daughter, who is 5, are all at the Argyle Club for a birthday party, a black tie party. Now, Brad and Suzanne are not members of this exclusive club, but a couple of Brad's siblings are, including his brother, Bart Simpson. I just had to get it out there.
No way.
I had to say it. He's
There's no way this guy's name was
Bart Simpson. It is. And he's a very nice guy. We're going to talk about him in a little bit.
That's so unfortunate.
Or maybe not. I'm Bart Simpson.
Yeah, can you imagine every line that came after he even introduced himself?
It's kind of like that guy in Office Space, Michael.
You are Michael Bolton? Yeah.
Bolton.
Michael Bolton.
One of my favorite all-time movies.
Michael Bolton. And then he goes, no, it's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. It's the same thing with Bart Simpson, honey. It's just a coincidence.
Oh, man.
But Bart is a member of the Argyle Club, and this is a club that is over 170 years old. It's very exclusive, very old, and it's for wealthy families.
I just need to interrupt for a second. I wish my name would have been John Williams.
Okay, Bart Simpson. You got stuck with Rob Podor, and then I got stuck with it after I married you.
So unfortunate.
Just legally.
I would change it if I could.
Okay, back to the Argyle Club.
Go for it.
Again, it's over 170 years old, and it's a place for the old wealthy families of the South.
That's old money.
It's old money. It's a 3-story colonial mansion with a tall photogenic staircase that leads up to an entryway and veranda that wraps around the top floor. By the way, this description is from Town and Country, so you know they were all about it.
Oh, yeah.
It was known for lavish entertainment. It was a place where people like Robert E. Lee stayed. And during the war between the states, they didn't even call it the Civil War. That's what my mother from North Carolina called it, the war between the states, or my grandmother anyway.
Yeah.
The Argyle was an arsenal, but today it's a place for the wealthiest and most influential families in Texas to hang out. And it touts itself as one of the most elite and private clubs in the South. And the Argyle is just a stone's throw from the very small neighborhood where Brad and Suzanne live. So that gives you a bigger idea of like how exclusive it was where they were living.
Sure.
Now, on this Sunday, October 6th at 6 p.m., these three, because they have their 5-year-old there, are at this birthday party. And during the party, I believe the drinks were flowing, and Brad and Suzanne are seen having a verbal altercation. They are arguing. Now, after this, Suzanne left with their little girl. Surveillance shows this at the Argyle Club. It shows her wearing this short, dark, I think it was navy. I've heard other people say it was black dress with nude heels, and her hair is partially pulled back away from her face.
Okay.
When she leaves with her daughter, it's around 8:30 p.m. Now, after the two of them leave, Suzanne and her little girl go to the local H-E-B, which is a grocery store. And the cameras there show that she arrived around 8:40 and left about 8:51 before getting back into her car and heading home to 520 East Olmos Drive.
Okay.
Now, at some point, Brad has also come home to the house because between the time that she leaves the grocery at 8:51 until just before 9:15, Brad has put hands on Suzanne. And Suzanne calls her friend, Graham Matthews, and tells this friend that she's coming over. Then a minute later at 9:16, she calls her mother, Barbara Clark. She tells her mom that Brad had physically assaulted her, and he does this in front of their 5-year-old daughter. He pushes her down the stairs against the wall and slaps her across the face. So she's called her friend saying she's coming over, and then she calls her mom to say that Brad had hurt her. He had hurt her arm and her back. And the call between Suzanne and her mom lasted from 9:16 p.m. to 9:24 p.m. Now, you're going to hear me give lots of specific times. That's because the forensics in this case have been done impeccably.
Okay.
She calls her mom on the way to her friend's house. But not long after she gets on the phone with her mother, Barbara, Brad Simpson goes into his AT&T app and he suspends her phone service, which just turns off.
Yeah.
Which was something he did a lot. If he didn't want her to have access to other people, probably to tell on him for what a piece of shit he is, he would just turn her phone off. At 9:25, Suzanne arrives at Graham Matthews' house in Alamo Heights. But by 10:22, Suzanne's phone shows that it was back at her home in Olmos Park. And this is a screen capture by her oldest daughter who's living in New York. And that will be the last known location. So like when I'm looking at my Find Friends app, it'll say, like if one of us is at the airport, I always know what time everybody turned their phone off because it'll say the last time that you saw that person was at like 2:30.
Gotcha.
Right?
Right.
And then when they turn their phone back on again, when they land, you can see them live. But while their phone's in airplane mode, it'll just give like the last known time and location.
Right.
And it'll show Rob at the airport and what time he flew out, right?
Right.
So that's what her daughter is seeing in New York.
And my arms get really tired.
Ha, ha, ha. That's a dad joke.
Thank you.
Around 10:30 p.m., Suzanne and Brad's neighbor, Albert, he goes by Bert Hernandez, who lives across the street in this very secluded neighborhood, he can hear arguing. He can hear Suzanne and Brad arguing loudly, and it escalates. And the neighbor looks out his window, and he can see Brad and Suzanne fighting. But it's a physical struggle this time between the two of them. And Suzanne is trying to get away from Brad. She's struggling to get out of his grip, but Brad isn't letting her go. But Suzanne breaks free from him and runs into the woods that are adjacent to their home and this neighborhood. And Brad follows. And this neighbor is worried. I'm going to say, quote, worried. Okay, I got my air quotes up.
Yeah.
He grabs a flashlight to go outside. And when he's outside, he hears screaming. 2 to 3 distinct screams.
Wow.
Now, at this point, the neighbor, who was worried, I got my air quotes up again,
Yeah.
goes back inside. He does nothing.
Really?
He doesn't call 911. He
What?
doesn't go over to where the screams are to make sure Suzanne's okay. Nope. He goes back inside. Now, nothing against Bert. I kind of get it. This is a whole phenomenon, and it's been studied by psychologists. People don't want to get involved.
Yeah, but the Houston Texans were also playing, so he had to go back.
I don't know if that was true or not.
I don't know.
I think Bert probably wanted to be a good neighbor, but maybe he just didn't know what to do, didn't think he should step in. What if he steps in and, they're just really just fighting? Is it really any of his business? Again, very exclusive neighborhood. People just don't air their dirty laundry, and people don't want to get involved, right?
Yeah, but still, listen.
I'm trying to take up for him. I'm trying to take up for
but
Bert because
it's not hard to just get on the phone and call 911 and say, listen, I've heard some screaming. And
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But he did not.
Okay.
He did not. Now, just hang on because he's going to come back into our story.
I'm hanging and clinging.
Then beginning at 11:06, Brad starts doing this thing where he's powering his phone off and on. This is called lockdown mode. He's making it harder to be tracked via his phone. And this isn't just done like on a whim, y'all. He would have to know or have looked this up. It just makes it harder to get data out of your phone later, but it can be done.
Okay.
But this is what Brad starts doing from around 11:06 p.m. on Sunday, October 6th into the wee hours of Monday, the 7th, and throughout the day. But he's not as smart as he thinks he is, okay? Because there are cameras everywhere.
Sure.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, at midnight, the neighbor, Bert, sees Brad start his black GMC pickup and leave. He drives a big old truck, and he's going to return about an hour later. So Bert's kind of keeping track of him, right?
Right.
At 12:33 a.m., Brad's truck is at the H-E-B grocery store in Olmos Park, and he's picked up by the surveillance cameras there. In the back of his truck bed is a large ice chest, a great big cooler, but nothing else.
Okay.
At 7:15 a.m., Suzanne's phone pings at a business parking lot in the 4000 block of McCullough, then goes inactive. At 7:53 a.m., Brad, driving this same truck, takes his 5-year-old daughter to school at the Howard Early Childhood Center. She's in kindergarten. And after taking his daughter to school, this is, by the way, taking his daughter to school is something that Brad never did.
Mm-hmm.
But when he does take his daughter to school, there's surveillance footage, and this cooler is still in the back of his truck bed, but there are now at least 2 white trash bags with red drawstring ties, also in the back of his truck.
Okay.
Now, after he takes his daughter to school at 9:12 a.m., Brad goes through the drive-thru at a Whataburger in Kendall County, which is in Boerne, Texas, which is 40 miles or so from Olmos Park. And Brad orders food, pays for it with his debit card, and the surveillance cameras there showed that he now had a cooler, a large, heavy-duty gray trash can, and a large, bulky item that is wrapped up in a blue tarp and secured with a metal firewood holder that is placed on top of the tarp to hold it in place. And this is a body-sized something underneath this tarp.
It sounds like murder's a lot of work, so I'm sure he worked up an appetite.
He was hungry.
Yeah.
After Brad leaves Whataburger, he goes not a stone's throw to a Home Depot that sits adjacent to this Whataburger. He's on surveillance cameras there at 9:53 a.m. buying 2 bags of Quick Right cement, an orange Home Depot construction bucket with a lid, and a box of 32-count construction trash bags, and a 30-ounce bottle of Clorox spray, and some insect repellent.
Huh, I wonder what that was for.
Now, here's what's interesting. At Home Depot, Brad pays cash for everything. So he's fine to use his card to eat.
Yeah.
But having a record of buying stuff at Home Depot, he thinks is a bad idea. He doesn't want to be tracked, and he's still turning his phone off and on. And again, he's thinking he's so smart. He is on cameras everywhere.
Right.
He takes it all to the parking lot. He puts it in his truck. And while he's in this parking lot, Brad stops a man, just a total stranger, and asks for directions to the nearest dump in Bernie, Texas. And this guy gives Brad directions to the Kendall County solid waste site on Spanish Pass Road. And Brad heads to the dump and he powers off his phone again. But of course, Home Depot has him on camera and even in the parking lot, and his truck is tracking his movements. If you have a newer car and something happens to you, your car has a computer in it. It can be tracked.
Yep.
But he's not smart enough to know that, okay? At 10:07 a.m., while his phone is powered off, a license plate reader, a camera, picked up his truck, and everything that's in his truck bed is seen. Again, it hasn't changed from what they saw in the truck bed at Home Depot.
Right.
From about 10 a.m. to 10:30, Brad goes to the Kendall County dump site at 46 Spanish Pass Road. Again, he's there for 30 minutes. He's picked up on another surveillance camera from the local business near the dump site driving away. Then at 11:15 a.m., he's picked up again at a Valero Stripe gas station in Bernie, Texas, Kendall County. While he's there, he buys gas and 2 one-gallon jugs of water. Now, the surveillance footage there shows that the white trash bags that were once in his truck bed are no longer there. But the blue tarp, the firewood rack, and the trash can are still there.
Okay.
And as far as Brad is concerned, he has started the day in black sandals. So I guess like Tevas, I don't think they're flip-flops. I never read what they really were. But now he has on boots, okay? So he's changed his shoes.
Okay.
After this, Brad's truck heads west through Bandera County in Medina, Texas. I hope it's not Medina. Somebody in Texas will let me know.
Well, we have Lima, Ohio, which is really what we say is Lima.
Yeah, I know. So
Same thing.
Medina, I apologize, Texas.
Potato.
He again turns off his phone. He's there for 13 minutes before he travels east back to Kendall County. And at 1:41 p.m., a license plate reader clocks Brad's plates again, coming into Bernie, Texas from Bandera County. Now, when he leaves Bandera County, the blue tarp isn't in the bed of his truck, and the firewood rack wasn't in the same spot. So he goes into Bandera County with something under a blue tarp, and when he leaves, it's gone.
Right.
Now, Suzanne was always the one who took their 5-year-old to school in the morning, and she was always the one who also picked her up. But no one has come to pick up their little girl from school. And at 3 p.m., Brad is notified that Suzanne did not come pick up their child. So at 3:27 p.m. on October 7th, Brad is back at the school picking up their daughter, and while this child is waiting on her dad, she had a few things to tell school officials.
Uh-oh.
That's called foreshadowing.
Here we go.
Yes. When he gets their little girl at school, the ice chest is still in the back of the truck, and so is the gray garbage can. Everything else is gone. 40 minutes later, at 4:07 p.m., Brad is again picked up on surveillance footage at the Bubble Bath Car Wash on San Pedro, and he's cleaning and washing the driver's front side of the truck and the rear left passenger side of the back seat. So this is like one of those bigger trucks that has like a back seat. I don't want to say it's a dually because it didn't look like that to me, but there was a back seat.
Right. Just a big cab, and it's got the secondary.
Right.
Right.
In the truck bed, do you like how I knew it's called a dually? How about that?
I'm impressed.
I know. She's a country girl.
Well, you're a Kentucky girl. You should know that stuff. Come on.
Yeah, right. I've never driven a truck in my life, so.
You got me a gun rack for Christmas.
I did not. I did not. He is joking, you guys. Y'all, he's joking. I did not. In the truck bed is only this big cooler. So they're at the Super Suds or the Mr. Bubbles. What did I tell you it was called?
Mr. Bubbles, I don't know.
They're at the Bubble Bath Car Wash, okay?
Yeah.
And he's in there, he's cleaning things out, and the only thing that's in the truck bed now is this big cooler. So just to remind you, at one point or another during the night before or that Monday, there's been a cooler, white trash bags, an orange Home Depot bucket, a blue tarp, and a firewood rack.
Okay.
And possibly a body.
Right.
By that night, Monday, October 7th, Brad hasn't said a word to anybody that he hasn't seen his wife since the night before. But Suzanne's friends are worried. None of them had seen or heard from Suzanne all day. She'd missed appointments with clients, and her mother hadn't talked to her either. Now, remember, she called a good friend the night before and went to her house, and she called her mom to tell her that Brad had hurt her, and she didn't show up to pick up their daughter. Now, that night, after their friends discussed their concerns with each other, her friend, Sunny Jane, another great name, Sunny Jane Woods called Brad to say, "Where's Suzanne? And we're worried about her."
Right.
And it's just before 10 p.m. And when this friend hangs up from speaking with Brad, she calls the police to report her friend missing. It is 9:57 p.m. 14 minutes, by the way, Sunny talks to somebody. 14 minutes later, Brad himself calls the police at 10:11 and leaves a voicemail that he'd not seen Suzanne all day. So what this tells me, and I could be wrong, is the friend called not 911, but the number to actually speak to somebody.
Right.
And he just called the police station and left a message because it's late at night.
Sure.
Now, he says that the last he saw of her was 11 p.m. the night before, saying she had lost her phone at the H-E-B grocery. Lies, all lies.
Yeah.
The Olmos Park police show up at their home on the morning of October 8th around 9 a.m. So it's Tuesday now. They have the fight Sunday night, all day long Monday. He's driving around with everything. Late Monday night, her friends call. He calls after that. Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., the police show up. And he tells them that he had seen Suzanne Monday morning around 6:30 a.m. He tells police that he looked in on Suzanne in the room where she sleeps, meaning they didn't sleep in the same room together anymore. But he said that he saw her there. And this is a complete contradiction to what he told him the night before.
Yeah.
Now, throughout the day, authorities searched the Olmos Park area and the nearby woods where they found, quote, 2 articles of interest, end quote, for forensic testing. Now, a lot of this stuff we still don't know because this is it's ready to go to trial. It's been delayed a couple of times. We're going to talk about that at the end.
It's still an ongoing investigation.
It is an ongoing investigation, but it's an ongoing trial too.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
just been delayed a little bit.
All right.
At 4:37 p.m., the school staff from Howard Early Childhood Center alerts the police that Suzanne's 5-year-old said that her parents were fighting on Sunday night and that Brad hit Suzanne in the face and may have pushed her into a wall and then took her phone. Now, this is a 5-year-old.
Wow.
Around 9:50 or 10 p.m., Texas Rangers and police formally interview Bert Hernandez, the neighbor who detailed the struggle between Brad and Suzanne and how she broke free and started running and the screams in the woods. And Suzanne's oldest daughter, Chandler, who's living in New York City and going to Parsons, she gets a text from her dad at 2 a.m. the night that Suzanne goes missing. He tells her that she's missing and that he's not going to wait another 12 hours before he files a missing persons report. So he's all over the board. He's telling his child one thing, he's telling the police something else, then he tells the police something else entirely. He tells her that he's checking hospitals. And she has said that she started hyperventilating and panicking and crying. She's calling everybody in the family. Nobody's picking up. She gets up the next morning. She sees that her mom's phone says that she's home. Remember, I said that she's the one who had the screen capture.
Right.
But then she realizes that was 2 days ago, and that she can't see her mom's phone. And so she hops a plane, goes home, taking a flight into San Antonio. And when she arrives, her dad still had not called her or texted her. And when he does give her an explanation, he's very defensive about it. And he tells her that her mother was drinking. Mom called me an ass. Then mom went to the grocery and she lost her phone. And then he tells Chandler that he took her little sister to school because he was letting her mother sleep in. And Chandler knows that her dad never lets her mother sleep in.
Right.
And he never took her baby sister to school. But she says that nothing was happening in San Antonio when she got there and that everybody was acting like it was no big deal. And she said that it was as if the police were just believing everything that her dad said and not really looking any further into anything else. So she gathered up her siblings and she told them Mom would never leave us. And then she's wondering why she is the one consoling her brother and sisters. Where is her dad? Quote,
Right.
why is he not here looking his children in the eyes and telling us that he loves us and that we're going to find Mom?
Yeah.
So I knew immediately from that point that he had taken my mom's life. In the moment, I was just still letting myself be hopeful and strong and faithful just because my mom and I like her spirit and soul within me was just like shining through, end quote.
It's sad.
Yeah. So she calls her dad and she's like, where are you?
Yeah.
Why aren't you here? And he was laughing at her. He was laughing at her and he was telling her that she sounded like you sound like your mom. You sound like your mom. And then she starts yelling again and he starts laughing at her and says, now you sound like me, because she was angry. Now, Suzanne's children went to the police station and started talking about their dad. They told them about the physical and mental abuse, and the youngest daughter has told her teachers at school that night before her mom goes missing that her dad shoved her mom and hit her across the face, which matches exactly what the school has already told the police.
Right.
And now that the children have come forward to say this, they're like, look, our dad is not nice to our mom. Suzanne's children going to the station gives the Olmos Park police a reason to get a search warrant for the home. And early on October 9th, police and Texas Rangers execute their search warrant on East Olmos and see where the drywall has been dented at the bottom of the stairs.
Jeez.
You have to really
Yeah.
push somebody hard to make a spot in the drywall.
Yeah.
That's some force.
Yep.
They also find a box of white trash bags with red handles, just like what they're going to see in the back of his truck when they pull all this surveillance footage.
Right.
Then that afternoon at 4:35, Brad texts his best buddy, Val Cotter, the guy that he was in cahoots with, saying, quote, if you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at your house? I don't have much time, end quote. And Val tells him in a text that he would be there in 40 minutes. And Brad responds in a text, quote, okay, make sure and leave all that shit into the pump house, especially the gun, end quote.
Whoa.
At 8:31 that night, Val texts Brad, quote, get over here. I won't tell anyone. And followed it up with, quote, you're my brother, end quote. It should have been, you're my alibi.
Yeah, exactly.
You're my partner in crime.
You were my moron.
Yeah. At 1:30 a.m., Brad Simpson is arrested at the property in Bandera County, the property that his company bought from his mother in 2015. And this is the 3-acre property on Highland Drive near the Medina River with the 2,600 square foot building. Now, while Brad is at this property, the Bandera County Sheriff's Department shows up looking for him, and they find him standing next to an active fire. He's burning stuff. And he doesn't even act surprised that the Sheriff's Department is there. He didn't ask why he was being arrested. He wasn't concerned with the whereabouts of his missing wife. He showed zero emotion, and once again, he says that Suzanne lost her phone at the H-E-B grocery store on October 6th. Now, the law enforcement officers who take him into custody, they can see that he has all kinds of bruises and cuts on his arms and hands. And they ask him, hey, Brad, your neighbor said he saw you fighting in the front yard with Suzanne and that he witnessed you wrestling with her and she was trying to get away and she finally did. And then he heard some screaming. And it must be at this point that Brad is saying to himself, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And Brad clams up and asks for an attorney. Now, back at the fire where they had picked Brad up, the sheriff's deputies execute a search warrant there at 359 Highland Drive in Bandera County, where they find the charred remains of not one, not two, but 3 cell phones and a laptop, all allegedly belonging to Brad. The iPhone 14 Plus he had on his person when he is arrested, and they find on his phone these 2 notes that he's made to himself on October 8th, just a day before he's arrested. But in one or both of these notes, Brad apologized for assaulting his wife, Suzanne, one time in August of 2023 and again on October 6th, 2024, which in the notes he referred to as the prior night. Also, we found out that in September of 2023, specifically on September 17th, Brad had texted this other woman. And we don't know at this point what that relationship was. You asked, but we still don't know what that relationship was or what they were to each other. But we do know what they said, where he said, I feel bad about tonight. I shouldn't have grabbed her phone. I drove off. She was protective. I got locked out. I had to bring it back. And that was the whole, these things are the devil.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah. You're the devil, dude. Right? These aren't the devil.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, people are coming out of the woodwork. Suzanne's personal banker comes forward with her giving her information that Suzanne had said to her if she ever went missing, to look for her at the lake. Now, this property is on Medina River, which empties into Medina Lake, where they found him by the fire burning the phones.
Right.
Later in the month of October, police search their home once again. On October 23rd, the police find a bag of quick-set concrete, a box of heavy-duty construction bags, with only 28 of 32 bags remaining, as well as that gray garbage can and the firewood rack. Police have looked in a wooded area just off a highway in San Antonio. They went through the landfill for days, but they didn't find anything. Meanwhile, Brad is saying nothing. They did search in Bernie right off of I-10 at the Main Street exit, and a whole mess of Texas search and rescue group came along, and they had the Kendall County DPS. They used ATVs, drones. They had dogs out there. They found nothing. But this is near where the family property is, where they arrested Brad, near 542 East Mile Marker on Interstate 10 in Kendall County.
Got it.
Now, they did search in the Bandera area where Brad was burning phones and a laptop. And after 2 weeks after Brad is arrested, they come for Val, James Val Cotter. He's arrested.
Good.
He's at home. He's arrested and charged with a third-degree felony, tampering with evidence, and intent to impair an investigation. And you may ask why. Well, Val agreed to hide an AK-47 for Brad, and the ATF and K-9 team found it all behind this false wall, or like this void in a wall.
Wow.
Yeah, but Val had a gun safe, but he put these guns in this wall. And when they go back to Suzanne and Brad's home, again, the police, in addition to finding the cement, and they found cement in the back of his truck, and they find this extra bag of like Quikrete at the house, they found what they knew would be the linchpin in their prosecution case.
What's that?
Police found a reciprocating saw,
Ooh.
and on it is Suzanne's DNA.
Oh, man.
Now, here's what I am thinking. Just me. He chased her into the woods that night. He probably strangled her. He put her in the back of his truck, probably under the tarp. He went to the landfill to get rid of some stuff, but not the body. Then he went to the property by the Medina River. He cut her body apart and used cement to sink the body parts. That's what I'm thinking.
Wow.
And what did Suzanne tell her private banker? Look for me in the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the same place again where he's burning the phones, and this lake, this river, Medina River or Medina River leads into the lake. Sorry,
Right.
I'm so excited about this case. I can't get it all out.
Slow down there, Speed Racer.
Now, he always calls me that, y'all. Slow down, Speed Racer. He says it to me all the time. And not even when I can't get my words out. Now, not long after Suzanne went missing, her oldest daughter, Chandler, goes on a podcast with a psychic. It was called Connect with Jonathan Mark, and he said that he connected with her mother. Now, I don't know if you believe in any of this or not, but he brings up the business partner, and he tells her that it's a search and recover. And Chandler says, yeah, we know that my dad has killed her. And he tells her that her mother is saying there's an eyewitness, and there's a neighbor, and there was a neighbor. And he says that she wanted a restart, meaning that the mom wanted to leave Brad and that she should have done it sooner. And he tells her that her mother is showing him a dump. So it's a landfill. And he says that she says they are looking, but they're looking in the wrong place. They're like looking in the landfill, but that's not where she is. That's what this psychic is saying.
Yeah, and there's no way the psychic would have known any of that.
No, and this is just, I'm telling you, this is like a week after she goes missing
Wow.
that she goes on this podcast. And Suzanne's daughter tells this psychic that Brad sent a message to his business partner that said, leave that shit in the pump house. And she point blank asks the psychic, do you see anything with a pump house that's coming through? And she asks him if there's anything with an old well, an old stone well with a wooden cover, or oil and gas rig in Bandera. And Bandera is the place by the river, obviously. And he
Right.
tells her that there's a huge pump in the ground and that her mother is giving a thumbs up to the oil or something where the oil gets pulled. That's what he calls.
Okay.
That's what he calls it. Now make of that what you will.
Okay.
I already told you what I think happened.
Right.
And maybe he dismembered her in the pump house. Again, this is only my thought of what might have happened.
Okay.
But meanwhile, Brad's brother-in-law, Bart Simpson, came out with a statement, quote, Suzanne Simpson, of course, disappeared back on October 6th after Brad allegedly assaulted her near her home here in Olmos Park. He filed a missing person report a day later, but on October 9th, he was taken into custody on that assault charge. It is our sincere hope and prayer that Brad will find the compassion and courage to end this family's suffering by cooperating with the authorities to help us find his wife, end quote. And I will say, his family has been very supportive of the kids, I believe.
Right.
So they're like cooperating. They're like, come on, Brad, come on. He even says his brother was raised better than this. And I don't know if I have that quote in here or not later, but he does say, my brother was he was not raised like this.
Right.
So between the text to his best friend and the video footage they had of him, the neighbor story, his 5-year-old story, the fire he used to destroy a laptop, 3 phones, but more than that, the saw with Suzanne's DNA on it, on December 21st, 2024, a grand jury handed down an indictment against Brad for murder, tampering with evidence, and unlawful restraint. He has a $3 million bail that he cannot raise. So he has been sitting in jail up to this day, waiting for this trial.
Wow.
Now, his best friend has his own trial coming up, Val Cotter. He's got his own trial coming up. And he's not allowed to have contact with Brad or possess a firearm. And he's been fitted with a GPS monitor. He's been charged with removing Brad's AK-47 that was illegally modified and hiding it in his home. And he's facing 2 felony charges, tampering with or fabricating physical evidence with intent to impair an investigations and possession of prohibited weapons. Now, Brad's defense has filed a motion to quash the indictment, claiming that the prosecution lacked enough evidence to prove that Brad had murdered Suzanne. No body, no crime. They're saying without a body, this case is all circumstantial.
Right.
But the prosecution said we don't need to prove exactly how Suzanne was killed, only that Brad had intended to kill her and had taken steps to cover up the crime. And with the evidence that we have, including the DNA found on Brad's reciprocating saw and his consistent attempts to conceal the crime, the prosecution had more than enough to move forward. And on April 22nd, 2025, Judge Joel Perez denied the motion to dismiss the indictment. Now, the trial would proceed as planned, and the prosecution says, here's the timeline. Brad attacked Susan in the early morning of October 7th, shortly after she returned home. The neighbor witnessed the struggle, heard Suzanne screaming. It was then in those woods that investigators believe Brad murdered Suzanne, likely through strangulation. He then returned home, wrapped her body in a tarp, and attempted to dispose of her body. Brad's calculated movements, from purchasing cement and heavy-duty trash bags to his trips to various locations, all suggested that he was attempting to hide the body and destroy the evidence. Yet despite all this damning evidence, Suzanne's body still has not been found, and investigators continue to search, hoping to find her remains. And in the meantime, Suzanne's family continues to fight for justice, refusing to let her memory fade into the darkness. Her daughter Chandler became a vocal advocate for domestic violence awareness, determined to be the voice for her mother until justice is finally served. And it's coming. The trial was set in 2025 for 2026, right now.
Okay.
So here's where we are. Brad Simpson is still in Bexar County Jail on a $2 million bond. He's charged with murder, tampering with a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of a prohibited weapon in connection with the October 2024 disappearance and presumed death of his wife, Suzanne. But at the January 19th, 2026 hearing, the state told Joel Perez that they had recently received large quantities of additional discovery, waves of evidence and, quote, several terabytes of material. And because both sides have to have time to review the discovery, the judge granted a continuance and reset the trial for roughly 60 days. Now, it's been reported that there's more cell phone data, there's more surveillance footage. I don't know, I could have much more surveillance footage of this guy, but more electronic records that trace Brad's movements and activities around the time of Suzanne's disappearance. So for now, we wait on that. Now, a few months back, Suzanne's sister was arrested because she was harassing Brad's family, I guess calling day and night and confronting them. And Brad's bestie, well, Val, he's trying as hard as he can to distance himself from anything that Brad might have done.
I'm sure.
And in another twist, Brad's defense attorney is now asking for the personnel files of 3 specific law enforcement officers who are involved in the case. The chief of police for Olmos Park, Fidel Villegas, I'm sorry, chief. He's accused by the defense of allowing the city's mayor to privately review physical evidence in the case after a gag order, potentially affecting the chain of custody. Number 2 is Melissa Campbell. She's a Bexar County sheriff's deputy whose prior history, the defense says, was not included in discovery and whose personnel records they want the court to examine. Don't know why. And Jesse Perez. Jesse is a Texas Ranger whose background and prior issues the defense also claims were not fully disclosed in discovery, prompting a request for his personnel file. Now, I believe all 3 of these have to do with the chain of custody and possibly a bias that they may have against Brad or the evidence against Brad. And I think there's so much evidence against him, and his trial is just right in his own backyard.
Right.
These defense attorneys are looking for anything.
Yep.
So hopefully his trial doesn't get hung up on some stupid technicality.
Right.
Seems like grasping at straws.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that the defense is going to push is the validity of a 5-year-old's story, whether or not his youngest daughter, who's now probably 7, will take the stand remains to be seen. Now, I told you that Val Cotter isn't allowed to speak with Brad. He's also not allowed to see his youngest daughter, and he's only allowed to communicate, read and write with his son via letter. Now, his other older 2 daughters want nothing to do with him.
Wow.
They still don't have a body, but we don't know what this new evidence is. This is an ongoing trial, but we will stay on top of it and come back to this after the trial is over. Now, if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. That's SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE, or text START, the word START, to 88788. You can also chat online at the hotline at hotline.org. But if you or someone you know is in immediate danger, please call 911. But for now, that is the story and the ongoing trial of Brad Simpson for the murder of his wife, Suzanne. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, I only really have one take on this, and that's about the profiles that the defense wants.
Yeah.
A couple things. Yeah, they're grasping for straws. They're looking for anything. I also think that any defense attorney, they're going to look for any distraction they can to give them more time.
Well, I mean, they've already got an extra 60 days, so it's already been pushed into March because I think it was like January 19th that they got all this new discovery, and the defense has to have time. And prosecution was even like, we're just now getting this discovery. We need time. And, of course, they have to hand everything over as well.
Yeah.
So, but they have more surveillance footage, more of a digital footprint of Brad. I mean, it doesn't seem good for Brad.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, he's burning his laptop, but still, I mean, everything's on the internet. You know, I mean, there's the cloud, there's everything. So, I mean, you can burn your hard drive, but they still have evidence from, like I said, the cloud.
Yeah, because this isn't a case from 1990. This is a case from like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. The one thing I didn't tell you, when the daughter goes to the psychic and does the podcast, the mom who's coming through is saying he thinks he's really smart, but he's not. And when I was doing my research, I was like, this guy thinks he's so smart, and he is just not. And then when I read that transcript from that podcast, I was like, Suzanne, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
He does think he's smart, and he's not. He's just not. But I feel worse. The kids,
Yeah.
the 4 kids, and the 2 older ones are in college. The one who was a teenager is probably getting ready to go off to college right now.
Right.
And that's who my heart breaks for, is these 4 kids, because their mother loved them so much. They were her life. And I get that. And when you're a mom and you're like, my kids are everything to me.
Yeah.
And their dad had to go and screw it all up.
Yep. Well, hopefully she'll find justice.
Yes. Suzanne needs justice. But if
Or-
anybody
yeah.
knows anything, I will say, I will put the numbers in the show notes, because there's in Texas and San Antonio in the area and around the area, they're still looking for leads. If you know something, they want you to step forward and say something. If you have found something, they want to know. They want to know.
Yeah, good. Well, obviously he's not the smartest, tool in the...
Is this your segue?
This is my segue. I'm trying to figure out how to segue out of this
I'm
one.
just going to throw up the heart.
All right, number 1.
I'm already laughing. Number 1.
I'm calling this Don't Mind Me.
Don't mind me.
Yeah, and this was posted in the In-Laws and Outlaws by Sonia T. Dunn. So thank you, Sonia, for
Thanks,
posting that.
Sonia.
Yep. A Florida woman is accused of turning a Target into her own personal cocktail lounge after police say she cruised the store in a motorized shopping cart while drinking wine straight from the bottle and eating sushi and cinnamon rolls.
You know how many women have said she's their spirit animal? I've seen this.
According to Orlando police, in Florida, imagine that. The woman rolled through the aisles like she owned the place, allegedly helping herself to food and alcohol as stunned shoppers watched the impromptu, quote, Target tasting menu, unquote, unfold in real time. Witnesses say the woman appeared unfazed, casually snacking and sipping while employees attempted to intervene.
I mean, if you got to snap in Target.
Exactly. The situation escalated when staff realized this wasn't a bad joke or a social experiment. It was allegedly theft with wheels.
A social experiment.
Yeah. Police were called, abruptly ending the retail happy hour.
Aww.
The woman was arrested and booked by the Orlando PD, where her mugshot now joins the proud tradition of Florida's most questionable life choices.
I'm pretty sure she's got a smile on her face in that mugshot, too, if I remember correctly. If I can find it, I'll post it.
All right. Online reaction was instant and savage. Some called it peak Florida brunch. Others joked she managed to combine grocery shopping, wine night, and a DUI vibe without leaving the store. I couldn't even say that straight. Authorities remind shoppers that Target does not offer curbside cocktails and that the wine and drive applies to indoors also.
Oh, okay.
All right, number 2.
Number 2.
I think I may be in the wrong bar.
Okay, more alcohol-related stuff.
An armed robber picked the wrong target when he raided an Australian bar where a biker gang was holding a meeting.
It's very unfortunate. It's like Pee Wee Herman.
I'm trying to use the phone!
Yeah.
I'm trying to use the phone.
Yeah. He ended up hogtied and in a hospital.
Hogtied?
The man and an accomplice wearing a ski mask and waving machetes stormed into a club in Western Sydney suburb shortly before 9 p.m. Wednesday and yelled at patrons to lie down as they tried to rob the cash register, police said.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, about 50 members of the Southern Cross Motorcycle Cruiser Club had just started a club meeting in another room, and the bikers jumped up to intervene. One robber escaped by leaping over a balcony while the other tried to flee through a service entrance, according to the club's president, who identified himself only as Jester. We caught him at the fence and crash tackled him and hogtied him to the ground and waited for the police to get there, Jester said. Police confirmed club patrons had subdued one of the robbers who was taken to a hospital with minor injuries, but did not give further details. Police captured other suspects nearby.
Don't mess with the Aussie bikers, man.
Yeah. All right, number 3, and finally, a hampered break-in.
Okay.
Police say a man broke into a Mesa apartment Thursday morning only to have his burglary plan hampered by getting caught in a clothes hamper. Mesa Police Detective Mike Melendez tells New York Times that a 45-year-old man was in the bathroom of his apartment on the 300 block of North Alma School Road when he heard noise coming from his bedroom.
Okay.
The man grabbed a broom as his defense and went into his bedroom where he found 20-year-old Michael Triaz tangled in his clothes hamper, which Melendez says was made from PVC and netting. According to court documents, Triaz had apparently just jumped through the bedroom window when he fell straight into the hamper and couldn't get out, ending a very short-lived burglary attempt. The resident of the home helped Triaz untangle himself from the hamper and walked him outside while they waited for police.
Oh.
In the process of the shoddy burglary attempt, Triaz also is accused of breaking $100 worth of the guy's stuff, including window screens, blinds, and, of course, the clothes hamper.
Yeah.
Triaz faces charges of second-degree burglary and criminal damage.
I'd be mad that his dirty shoes touched my laundry, even though it was dirty laundry. I wouldn't be happy about that.
Well, that guy was airing his dirty laundry all over the place.
Yes, he was.
How'd you like that?
But
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Try the veal. I beat him to it. I beat him to it.
Yeah.
Try the veal.
I'll be in the red room.
He has to have the last word. He has to have the last word.
Well, you know.
Well, if you have a bless your heart or you know somebody's heart who needs blessing, all you got to do is go to hitchtohomicide.com. When you get there, there's a pull-down menu, and while you're there, you can also suggest a case or tell us about your brush with true crime.
Yep.
That's my amazing husband out there who always has to have the last word.
I didn't say anything. Nope, I just did. And that's my beautiful bride in the booth.
What is happening right now?
I was trying not to have the last word.
Oh my gosh. Join us next time on Hitch to Homicide.
Bye, y'all.
There it was, last word.
No, it wasn't.